Here in America, we've come a long way towards the life our ancestors dreamed of. At home, at worship, or at work, a worker is fortunate to live in a country where workers are free to organize and unionize, and to peacefully seek a better life. Some would deny workers the right to protect the quality of life they deserve. But for over a century, the Catholic Church has been a steady beacon of support for God-given rights of men and women in the workplace. There is a continuous chain of teachings from the Catholic Church in favor of the working man and his right to organize. I believe it all started as the world became more industrialized. We saw that more and more workers were being abused. For this reason, starting with Pope Leo XIII, in Rerum Novarum, he started to speak of the importance of these workers, of the children who were working, and of the other workers who really didn't have any rights, which the owners were abusing. The Church saw the importance of being a mouthpiece, of speaking in favor of these workers. The encyclical of 1891, Rerum Novarum, has been used by the Church as the basis of its teaching about the rights of workers. 40 years later, Pope Pius XI wrote Quadragesimo Annum in response to the Great Depression. The Second Vatican Council emphasized this commitment in 1965. When the Church met at Vatican II, where all the bishops of the world gathered, which was a world constitution of the Church, there they spoke about the fundamental rights for all workers to have unions. This is not a wish of one pope or the theology of one era. No. It has become within the Church something fundamental, the right of each worker to organize and to participate in organizing. The 1919 American Bishops' Program for Social Reconstruction voiced an early concern for the labor movement. More recently, in 1986, the U.S. Catholic Bishops' Pastoral Letter, Economic Justice for All States, declared no one may deny the right to organize without attacking human dignity itself. I am proud of the U.S. Bishops' position, because during the last 20 or 25 years, they have always been in favor of the right of workers to organize, to form unions. And if we look today, we see also Pope John Paul II. His roots are in Poland, and he saw what was being done by the unions in his country, fighting for freedom, for justice. The Pope has told us in his encyclical on human work, he said that unions are indispensable. It is something very necessary, and through this, we as the Church, we commit ourselves to fight in favor of social justice. In 1991, John Paul II's Centésimos Annos went further to underscore the union's role in allowing workers not just to have more, but to be more. Today, through John Paul II's theology, what is happening is that human dignity is involved in the union, not just the worker's salary or the rights that he may have. Therefore, priests and Catholics are being prepared, are being asked to take it very seriously, that we must participate in the union as a service to the community. For me, as a rector, I think it's important to try to instill in the seminarians the importance of unions, of the right to organize. And I believe, for me, one form of doing this is to give them the opportunity to work in a small town with their people. The United States is still a country of immigrants, and those immigrants who have just arrived are not part of society, nor part of the economy, and the only way that they can become part of both is through the unions. I know that there are those who say unions are no longer any good, that they do not promote the good of the community. But I believe exactly the opposite, that now, more than ever, we need a force that can defend the rights of the workers. Above all, if one pays attention, we see that we permit everyone to organize. There are many organizations of lawyers, of doctors, and other activities. But why do we prevent workers to organize? Why don't we let the worker also try to see what they need to do? Today, many new immigrants, like their predecessors, need protection from unfair exploitation in the marketplace. Within the union, minorities and women can also find protection of workers' rights. The church leaders give their support, their clear and strong support, to the rights of workers to form union. We wish the best for this instrument of organization, which helps the oppressed peoples to organize, the poor people, so they can really celebrate and define their human dignity. And every year there are more Latins who are members of the Catholic Church in this country. This is why it is in our own interest to assist, to help in these fights, because you are the church. I am not the church. John Paul II is not the church. We all are. And if we work for you, we are doing it for ourselves. It's the same thing. All the testimony in the scriptures speak about human dignity, of the importance of the person, and of an adequate and just shelter, and that they have the right to organize to get this. And if they do not organize, it is very easy to oppress each individual. In solidarity, if they are together, it is much more difficult. The Church recognizes this and encourages the worker to organize, and the encyclicals repeat this, and so does our tradition. I know that it is sometimes quite difficult to join the efforts of your co-workers to form a union. And I don't dare say to another person that he or she must sacrifice him or herself. But I have seen the sacrifices of many people to form unions and to keep struggling in spite of the difficulties. And I must say that I admire and love those who sacrifice themselves, who are sacrificing themselves for the welfare of their family, for those who come in the future. And I believe that God is with them. And I believe it is the Spirit of God who moves them to that sacrifice. And I hope that many more will have that courage, that strength to keep fighting in spite of it all. Another aspect is the aspect of faith. Many times I believe it depends on the image we have of God and how we view God's plan. And as we see as people of faith, created in the image of God, and if we actually believe as people of faith who God has created in His image, we see that we are people of dignity. And as people of dignity, we deserve certain basic and fundamental rights. Therefore, for me, as a person of faith, I need to see this and see the importance of these rights, this dignity, and this justice in my life. And we see a union tries to protect these basic rights of human dignity.